The briefing today will be dealing on 3 issues. The development from the Federal High Court that threatens democratic process that is all inclusive, that targets to deregister political parties few months to election, that affects the ZLP, the Accord Party, the ADC, the APP, and most of the opposition political parties, with a target to ensure that the governor of Osun, a delegate, does not contest the election, and to ensure that almost over 2,000 House of Rep, senatorial and governorship candidates, both sitting and aspiring ones, does not participate. And also have to take a look at the judgment on the timetable, and also on nefarious, bloody, criminal activities that some officers of the Nigerian police force in Imo that have been involved in, that have led to death, forced disappearance, and kidnap of innocent citizens in Imo, that have created the air of fear and uncertainty, and also potential danger for our people's march to the general election. Let me start today by appreciating, because at times when the judiciary do what is right, you also have to appreciate that, even though most times we raise observations, not just because we're in opposition, but we're advocates for a better society. And I want everyone to understand that this whole briefing today is about what will help us have stability and do things the right way. It doesn't matter who is affected or who is gaining, but what matters that society can only survive where things are done decently. There must be a minimum standard that in terms of morality, that things that we should not go below. So when you see stupid actions that promote rascality, compromise of judiciary, compromise of security agencies, compromise of institutions, it does not matter who is alleged to be doing it. The most important thing that we owe society a duty to speak up, and that is how our founding fathers have been able to create the environments we have today. So I want to appreciate, first of all, and in today's, I want, if the Inspector General of Police, wherever he is, I guess must have closed work by now, and the Police Service Commission leadership to also listen to me today on the aspect that has to do with the police, and also the Chief Justice of the Federation, and the President of Court of Appeal, and the head of the court at the Federal High Court, so to also listen to me on the ones that has to do with the judiciary and other key players, and also our dear President on the ones that people who are carrying it out may be pretending to be working for him while pushing selfish interests, and those selfish interests can lead to reenactment of the crisis of the 63, of the 83s that led to the collapse of democracy, or the kind of crisis that you are seeing in different West African regions today as a result of attempt to stifle the political process. So if they are not close to their TV, those working with them can also help me reach them so they can listen to what I have to say. So most importantly, I want to appreciate Justice M.G. Omar of the Federal High Court. What Justice M.G. Omar of the Federal High Court did is something that is very courageous and something that is right. If it is a decent society, it would have been seen as normal. But most times, because of the way we run things here, it's special because we operate in an era where anything can go wrong or go the other way. And the judgment on the timetable, the judgment on the timelines, these are pure constitutional issues. And the Supreme Court has held that once a timeline is set on a principal act, it cannot be moved. It's strong like the rock of Gibraltar. It cannot be adjusted. So, and I want to my statement on this one is more of appeal to INEC as an umpire that is not biased and should be seen not to be biased. We are a few months to the election, and the election has already started because the pre-election process is almost ending. There will be no need to file appeal against this judgment, because filing appeal against this judgment is going to create a of uncertainty, is going to create instability, is going to create doubt, is going to create, it may even hurt the credibility of the electoral process. The political parties are okay with the judgment, and the political parties are the platform upon which people seek election into public office, and they have all accepted this judgment, and most of them are happy about this judgment. So if those process that leads to election piloted by the political party, they're okay with the judgment, asking for adjustment to this timetable, then you cannot cry more than the bereaved. So you owe a duty to the country to ensure that the electoral process is seamless. This is not time to flex muscle, to fight over these constitutional interpretations, because most of them have to do with the timelines, and most of them are status supported. So my advice is to urge the Electoral Commission to waive the possibility of an appeal. The country cannot afford to sit on the fence as we go to election, waiting for what the appeal court will do, what the Supreme Court will do. So what I will advise is that INEC should adjust some aspects of this timetable on substitution, some aspects of this timetable on end of campaign, some aspects of this timetable on publication of particulars, and so on and so forth, and allow Nigerian people to peacefully go to this electoral process. There's already a lot of tensions all over the country with the crisis left, right, and center. So appealing at a point that political process is almost 40% done, we create uncertainty. Political parties are adjusting some of their timetable to take in new members and going to do new primaries. So these new candidates that are going to come on board, there will be so much tension when we start rushing to appeal court, start going to federal Supreme Court. After election, if you feel, you can also seek the leave of the court to appeal and get interpretation. Well, my point is that the political parties yesterday, when I saw most of their leaders, have resolved that in the event of an appeal, all of them will seek to be joined. Imagine when the whole political party in the country seeks to be joined, we're going to stay in the appeal court waiting for interpretation, and electoral process and timetables are going on. It will create instability. So I salute the Federal High Court Special Justice M.G. Umar for the landmark judgment on these aspects of this timetable that have given room for further substitution of candidates and for further participation of some excluded Nigerians in the electoral process. And democracy is all about participation, is all about inclusiveness. It's all about allowing the people to have the chance to choose the best in a situation where you have a lot of people all projecting to be the best. So anything that gives room for more participation should be welcomed. And on that note, I want to appeal to the INEC chairman and the leadership of the commission as an advocate that is always in defense of democracy, as a leading lawmaker in the opposition, and as an apostle of rule of law, and as one that is representing a constituency that also agrees with that judgment, that this judgment is in national interest, is in support of democracy, and there will be no need to appeal. Appealing it will be unpopular and will not be acceptable to Nigerians and most political parties. And on that note, I urge that the Electoral Commission, in the interest of credibility of the electoral process, in the interest of certainty for the electoral process, does being any idea of appeal, assuming they have anyone, that such an appeal will create the impression that the Electoral Commission is crying more than the brief and is biased. And the country does not want screaming headlines of appeal court this, Supreme Court this, why people are doing voting. So on that note, I appreciate the Federal High Court Special Justice M.G. Umar for the wonderful work he has done in giving strong constitutional interpretation, and also appeal to INEC to also, in the spirit of the credibility that the chairman is trying to build, to ensure that we do not appeal to create uncertainty. So on that note, I move over to a worrisome development. And this, I will come back to the issue of the nefarious activities of the Tiger Base in Imo, the forced disappearance, the killings, the abductions, and the framing of people for terrorism, where a state police is now turned into a private army of a governor. I'll come back to that, and I hope by that time the IG would have also joined our broadcast. So now I come to the issue of a worrisome development that developed some few days ago at the Federal High Court. And I want Nigerians who have their constitution, this is not a lecture, it's a briefing, but then I want Nigerians who have their constitution to open section 225A. 225A. I will come back to why I say you should open section 225A. So that you'll be reading it before I get to that point. At that point, I also want the heads of our court, both the CJN, both the Federal High Court, both the NJC, that is supposed to ensure high level of discipline in the court, and also the Nigerian Bar Association also pay attention to this. So a few days ago, a judge of the Federal High Court, Justice Lifu, and with all due respect to him, but most of his judgments in time past have raised some controversies and serious pressure on our political process, especially that has to do with issues around rivers, issues around PDP, and so on and so forth. There was a strange case that was filed by a group of, I don't want to use words that are not to be used on TV station, but you know, whether people are looking for, I don't know the right word to use for the group. They call themselves National Forum of Former Legislators. Now, who filed a suit, I think sometime by December 2025, and they started it around January this year. Now, seeking to deregister almost all the political parties in the country. Now, seeking to deregister the ADC, seeking to deregister the ZLP, seeking to deregister the Accord Party, seeking to deregister the NRM, seeking to deregister the APP, also the party upon which I'm running. I'm not just speaking on this because I'm running under the APP. I'm also speaking to you as somebody who knows the consequences of such. I won't put. I don't want to call it political madness, but I don't know the word to use for it. But I don't want us to, for those who are not born or those who have not read history, the crisis of the 63, of the 83, that led to democratic crisis that engulfed the republic. That when people are already in an electoral process, candidates have emerged, thousands of them for Senate, for Rep, for governorship, for presidential, and so on and so forth, and somebody is in a court seeking to deregister those entire political parties. What kind of anarchy do you think you want the country to go through? And I know that the president, being one who fought for democracy, fought all the way into exile, fought in Nedeko, I don't think the president will want that legacy. But then when you have a situation of overzealous politicians who are looking for food, who are desperate for power, and trying to hide under the name of the president to wreak havoc, it's on that point I will tell the president that you have to find out what they are doing, because what they are doing have the potentiality or the capacity to engulf the whole country into crisis and lead to crash of our democracy. Now, why I said you should look at 225. This case was filed, and then when people came to court, you can imagine a situation where a case is in court, and then the judge comes to court and says, I must hear everything today. Application 1, I must hear it. Ruling, now we'll keep the ruling till the end of the day of judgment. Strangely, things was happening in court, people were complaining, and then they will change parties, they will change their filings without the leave of the court. The judge will say there's no problem with that. A lot of rules were broken, which raised suspicion and doubt about what is the intendment of those doing these cases and the person presiding over these cases. And also, that was on 21st January, that was 2026. Those who filed the case, one young man like that, he was always trying to find where he can find political survivor. His political career has always been on the low side, something from Mbisa or something. I don't even know his name. Now, they made a fundamental error in the process they filed, when they filed an application seeking to amend their originating summons. And then on the procedure which they adopted, which is completely wrong before the court, because the rule does not permit the joinder of parties by an application for amendment. The rule provides for how parties can be joined. So the plaintiff process was challenged by the parties as the court does not have the jurisdiction to entertain the suit, having been filed by an incompetent plaintiff. So at the proceeding of 24th March 2026, Honorable Justice Lifiu proceeded with the hearing of the plaintiff application for amendment. The plaintiff counsel withdrew the prayer seeking to deem the incompetent amended registration summons as properly filed, and that the relief having been withdrawn was struck out. Then on 27th April 2026, Justice Lifiu delivered his ruling on the plaintiff application of 21st January and granted it. Very interesting too. The court went ahead to deem all the processes as properly filed and served, despite the fact that there was not relief for deeming order being before him. So the court even went a step further, took into consideration extraneous factors and facts not before him, and wrongfully abridged the time prescribed by the rules of the court for the defendant to file their respective defense, despite the fact that there was no application for abridgment of time by the plaintiff. The plaintiff didn't even ask for abridgment, the judge have to abridge for him. Now, a clear denial of the right to fair hearing and order that defendant must file within 3 days, whereas the rule of the court provides for 30 days, which the defendant may file their respective defenses. Now, aggrieved by the ruling of the court, our own party also, APP, and Accord Party filed their respective notice of appeal against the decision of Justice Lifiu, seeking, among other things, an order of court of appeal setting aside the said ruling of 27th April 2026. Now, the two political parties, that is Accord and APP, filed motion on notice for stay of proceeding before Justice Lifiu as quickly as possible, even before the record of appeal was transmitted. Immediately thereafter, the record of appeal to the Court of Appeal on 4th May, some few days ago, the appeal was entered at the Court of Appeal with appeal number CA/ABJ/CF/5722/2026. Now, on this matter, now that shows that upon the entry of our appeal at the Court of Appeal, the appellate court is seized of the matter, and the Federal High Court becomes functus official. These two political parties yet again filed separate application for stay of proceedings at the Court of Appeal, Abuja, and same we are brought to the attention of Justice Liffey. What did Justice Liffey do, which is the one I want Nigerians to listen to? Despite the fact that he's aware of the long-standing decision of the Supreme Court, with a lot of authority cited by the council, including even INEC, advising him to stay further proceedings pending appeal, which seeks to challenge his jurisdiction to entertain the matter, together with the various affidavit of fact as to the entry of the appeal at the Court of Appeal. Justice Liffey again went on a voyage with Vasco da Gama, Christopher Columbus, or Mungo Park, for discovering facts outside the record, and dismissed the various applications for stay of further proceedings, even when senior members of the bar advised him not to do so. Now, the Court of Appeal. Now, before I get to this point, let me explain this for people who are just joining. This suit, you need to understand, is a suit seeking to wipe from the ballot papers all candidates of ADC parties, all candidates of Accord party, including Governor Adeleke of Osun, all candidates of APP, our own party too, all candidates of NRM, all candidates of ZLP, and other numerous political parties. And that's why I said before I started that you should open section 225A of the Constitution. Now, despite the fact that he's aware that appeal have been correctly entered and date have been set, he rushed and sat, left the court around 5-6 p.m., had everything, and say he's reserving every ruling on the day of judgment, and then fix the judgment to determine whether ADC and other political parties will be wiped from the ballot in the next 8 days or thereabouts. Now, what is the basis of this suit? Why I'm speaking on this? Because the fate of democracy and the face of participatory democracy, and a matter that is capable of instigating wide range of constitutional crises that can affect the entire electoral process and democracy is there. I'm not in some of those political parties, but I know what can happen where few months to an election, you wipe the entire candidate of an opposition party like ADC. You wipe that of Accord, Adeleke, who is going for election in Osun. You wipe APP, you wipe every political party. I don't think that's what the ideas of the Nedeko struggle was, or if Abiola was alive, that some of them fought for, he would like. And I don't think the president is fully aware of this political madness by those who are pretending to be helping him. This is not help. This is an invitation to anarchy. And somebody that loves democracy and loves the country, I have a duty to advise and say, at this juncture, run. Lifu, run on this issue. The leaders of the judiciary needs to step in. The court is not all about interpretation. It's about public good, public stability, public order. That's why there is judicial institution. That when man is failing, the judicial institution steps in to stop all nonsense. And this is like a kind of nonsense that needs to be stopped. And why do I say open section 225A? Section 225A said, INEC shall have power to deregister a political party for failure to win at least 25% of votes cast in one state of the federation if it's a presidential election. So in a presidential election, what you need to win is one state. You don't need to win all, and you cannot be deregistered. One local government of the state in a governorship election. If a political party have just one local government in a governorship election, it cannot be deregistered. Then, also, one ward in a chairmanship election. If you win one ward in chairmanship, it cannot be deregistered. Then, one seat in the National Assembly, one seat in the State House of Assembly. That's why I said Nigerians should put 225A, so that you read it and understand. And then the last, which is the smallest of them, one seat, and I repeat, one seat in a councillorship election. Once your political party have one seat in a councillorship election, you have fulfilled the provision of section 225A. Even somebody that is in primary 6 now, if I call him and give him this to read, he will explain it and understand it that it does not require too much grammar. ADC have House of Rep and Senate winners. Accord have Senate, local government. ZLP won the whole local government and councillorship in Abia or something. Our own APP won a councillorship in Jigawa one in Rivers before it was cancelled, and we have councillorship in Jigawa and one in Bauchi. So why are you in court asking to deregister those political parties for not being able to fulfill section 225A, other than you want anarchy? And because somebody thinks somewhere, if you sell land and dash people land, you have everything it takes to get this country turned upside down. It's not done that way. It's not done that way. You're playing with fire. Fire is what you're playing with. If somebody will not tell people, I will tell you that it's fire. That you think you can have an election where you deregister all the political parties and they go home and watch you. Are you okay? Are you okay? So, and apart from that, that's why I read section 225A, so the Nigerians can also read with me and understand. Then I will also bring to the attention of everybody that another very intelligent and respectful jurist, Federal High Court to you, and yes, Federal High Court to you. Now, the Federal High Court to you have also delivered a judgment by Justice C.S. Honor. Why I mentioned the name of these judges, that when judges that are courageous, that do the right, we must always appreciate them. Justice C.S. Honor, presiding judge of presiding judge of Federal High Court Uyo, have delivered a judgment and said that once a political party have met section 225 by winning ordinary councillorship seats, that political party cannot be deregistered. That case was filed in a case brought by somebody against the APP, the Action People's Party. Justice Honor have decided it. That judgment is suit number FHC UYCS 822024. Then I go again to another great jurist again on the same matter, and I will mention his name, Justice I.N. Owibo. Justice I.N. Owibo, another great jurist and a constitutional judge. He also ruled again in a judgment in a suit FHW OWCS 712025 delivered at the Federal High Court sitting in Owerri, Imo State. The judge also said that the constitutional minimum requirement is a councillorship seat. That once a political party have made that, the issue of the registration does not arise. Federal High Court to you on section 225A. Federal High Court Owerri on section 225A. Interpreting the same section 225A that the minimum requirement is councillorship. Then, gentlemen and Nigerians, we go again, appeal court some weeks ago. Appeal court, superior now to Federal High Court. And I hope Nigerians, you use your pen, you jot it so you follow and understand it. Now, then appeal court, in a judgment delivered by Nton Festus Nton, Justice of the Court of Appeal, and Justice, hold on, because it's good when you see judges who do this thing. You write in, you have to mention them. So Nigerians need to know that we still have great people there. Justice Onyebisi Omoleye, presiding Justice Court of Appeal, Owerri, and Justice Mohammed Lawal Abubakar. So Justice Mohammed Lawal Abubakar, Justice Onyebisi Omoleye, and Justice Nton Festus Nton. These eminent jurists of the appeal court. In an appeal again, this one against APP, settled the matter and said, upheld this judgment of the Federal High Court to your Federal High Court to Owerri, that the minimum requirement for a political party to exist is winning a councillorship seat. All these political parties that they drag before the other court have met all these requirements. So, section 225A says minimum councillorship. Federal High Court to you says minimum councillorship. Federal High Court to Owerri says minimum councillorship. Appeal Court of the country said minimum councillorship. Then Justice Liffey of a Federal High Court starts to hear the matter again. A matter that had been decided. The judgment had been fighting that, oh God, these things have been decided, strike them out. He said, I will rule on it on the day of judgment. Going by past judgment on that threw PDP into crisis, threw other opposition parties into crisis, created crisis even in Rivers, one has to be worried. Are we worried? Yes, we are worried. Because of the pattern. And that's why you need to let everybody know. And if the CJN is watching, you call him. The court is a public institution The court is a national institution. The court belongs to all of us. Once its image is lowered, you have opened the door for anarchy. So it's not your own. It's the people's own. After God, that we're going to answer to when we leave this earth. That is what we answer to on earth. So you don't do anything with it. It's not your own. It must be in line with the law. It's not only doing justice, but justice, as we are taught, must be seen to be done in everything. The image is even more important than the output. Now, these things have been decided by the Constitution, decided by the Federal High Court to Owerri, Federal High Court to Uyo, and the Appeal Court. And you refuse to dismiss after they filed the application that the whole thing is incompetent because they have all been decided. And then you rush it, you abridge time for them even when there was no application for abridgment of time. And then you have fixed judgment in the next 9 days. But as God will have it, Nigerians and those listening to me, the Appeal Court 3 days ago the Appeal Court 3 days ago, thereby, I'll call his name again, Justice Danjuma, Justice Banjoko, and Justice Oyenwemi. If not them, in an application APP brought, Accord Party brought, I wonder why people do not, if you want to contest election in Osun, you won't go and do your election. If the governor has not performed, let the people decide it. This idea of trying to exclude people, you say you are powerful, you say you are strong, you say you're on the ground, but you're running around disqualified, like some of them were doing in the primaries. You disqualify everybody. Cowards everywhere. And you want to use our institution to be carrying out your cowardic actions and damaging them. Is it your father's own? You say you're popular, but you're busy. Disqualify them, frame them, arrest them. Is that what nonsense is all this? If Azikiwa, Wolu, and Belewa are alive, would they be happy the law will have descended? And others cannot speak, fearlessly to these people? If you don't like Adeleke, you meet him at the polls. You want to deregister Accord Party so that the man will not be on the ballot. And you say you're powerful. You burn down institutions. You destroy the trust people have in institutions to achieve that. You knock off over 1,000 House of Rep and Senatorial candidates. You knock me off from the ballot. Then you're an Odogu or what? In a matter that 2 federal high courts have decided, Appeal Court have decided. And Supreme Court have even dismissed an abdication appeal on it. So, fellow countrymen, Justice Danjuma, Banjoko, and Onyewomi on Friday, some few days ago, at the Court of Appeal, in an appeal number CA/ABJ CV 5692026. Finally, granted a stay of proceeding, arresting the move and proceedings of Justice Liffey not to do further or take any further steps, including delivering that judgment that he plans to deliver in 9 days. And I think Nigerians must applaud the Appeal Court for playing that role for which judiciary is known, for intervening when it feels like anarchy is to set in, and adjourn the matter to October 2026. They should have adjourned it to January 2031 after for you can go and seek the interpretation you want to do. But let's obey the spirit of democracy, which is participation, inclusiveness, the people's right to choose who they want. So that have been stated. But why I'm also raising that concern is that I've been hearing from those I don't want to. I'm trying to, because sometimes you TV stations tell me not to be using certain words. I've been holding myself because of those words, because I don't know what those things. There's a way it makes me feel, so I try to use those words. So, by the man who is looking for food, who filed the action, that they will proceed. I said, then you proceed, you burn yourself. Appeal Court have stayed proceeding. You mean you will deliver a judgment to the register of political parties in Nigeria after appeal court have stayed it? Who gave birth to you? Eh? The land you're selling, have you entered your head? So, and I want Nigerians to keep a track on it. It's in 9 days. Let's see if anybody will try that. And that's why I said the CJ, the NJC, the appeal court leadership, the Federal High Court should also listen to my broadcast. So they call those that is involved. If they have not had appeal court in a ruling presided by Danjuma, Banjoko, and Oyowemi has stayed proceedings on those matters. That means everything about the direction of those political parties have been stayed to around October. The appeal court will decide on it, so that the country can have peace. So on that note, I want to thank the justices of the Federal High Court, of the Appeal Court, who have courageously interpreted these constitutional challenges and resolved them, and appeal to those who are pushing to back off, so that we don't have the crisis that led to collapse of our democracy in the 60s and in the 80s, because we love our country and we don't want such a thing to happen. So then I come to another very important issue. So I'm done with these formations. That one, we appealed to INEC that there will be no need to appeal. Let me recap for those who just joined us. That there will be no need to appeal the constitutional historic judgment of Justice M.G. Omar, which interpreted the timelines that were not complied with, and urged the Electoral Commission for the sake of certainty in the electoral process, for the sake of confidence, and to show that they are truly not biased. There's no need to appeal a judgment that if you appeal it, it will create uncertainty and make people to sit on the fence while the election process is going on. Let it go. The core of democracy is participation, power of people to choose who they want. Not really about these timelines. It's about making sure that the process is credible, the output is credible, but not try to lock anybody out of that process, because you don't know who the people want. So there's no need to appeal this, so that people doesn't feel, oh, you're appealing it because people feel some political parties has hurt some people and they don't want more people to become candidates. No, look at appealing it to create tension, make you look at things is endless, and now all the political parties informed me yesterday that they will seek to be joined in the appeal court if INEC appeals. That means there will be tension. We don't need that tension. We're almost close to election, so that the judgment is constitutional, is historic, and that there's no need to appeal it. After election, we can seek further interpretation if there's areas that we feel are not favorable. But I've looked at those timelines. What the court said is right, and also express my concern about the plan to register all the political parties, and which the Court of Appeal a few days ago have also stayed, and also to warn that those who are saying that the judgment will still be delivered, that you'll be seeking an invitation to anarchy, and our country does not deserve that. I get him. If you are looking for food, if you are looking for something to feed, if you are looking for land, just do it, and don't run around to create tension for the country in the name of you are fighting for some people who didn't send you. These things will destroy our democracy, and I don't think we need it. And like I said before, the founding fathers of our democracy, what they had in mind was a participatory democracy, that everybody is involved, inclusive for everybody, in compliance with constitutional provision of freedom of association and the right to participate. That is what democracy is all about. And any democratic process that tries to exclude people, it may favor you today, will create anarchy for the country and hurt the effort of our founding fathers. And all over West Africa, where exclusion of candidates have been practiced, led to high level of civil unrest and crisis. Some ended up the government collapsing, some ended up to people being killed, and even the winners of the election being sworn inside the military barrack, and so on and so forth. All those things have created so much instability. West Africa is at the core of a new fund of terrorism that is sweeping from Mali to Niger to Chad to all this. There's a new kind of killer groups that is killing, raping, attacking institutions, killing armed forces, police. This should be the focus of West African leaders, how to rein in this murderous gang that is moving all over the Sahel, left, right, and center, down to our own Nigeria, kidnapping, killing people. It's something that we should focus and not embark on something that will divide us politically and create more tension. And then issue. Sorry. Let me now come to this issue that is important. This is personal to me and also to Imo people. A few days ago, we got a report, and can the woman, can that madam also come in? A few days ago, we got a report. A woman reached our local constituency office. Her name, It's okay. So a few days ago, a woman reached, her husband died some few days ago, so they have not buried her. That she had been looking for her children. Madam, come here so that they will be seeing you. The captive NGO brought her all the way from Owerri to us today because we asked that she should come. No, come here so people will see you. Come at my back. Come at my back. Stay here so that they will see you. Stay here. So a few days ago, we got information that she was looking for her children. The name, is it Obinna or Madabuchi? Which of them? Obinna, Madabuchi. So Obinna and Madabuchi. And I'm going to show you Obinna. This is Madabuchi. This is Madabuchi. And this is Obinna. And they also got a report that was another one. So I think 3, but not her own. So that they were missing. That they were taken a month ago. Adopted, kidnapped, whatever. So we searched with the military authorities. They said they didn't have. We searched with police around that area. They said they didn't have, and so on and so forth. We sent our informants all over the place. And to our greatest surprise, Nigerians, these young boys, Dim Obinna and also Madabuchi, was adopted by a notorious police unit. The word there is notorious. And I will read amnesty report for you. That subsequent police IGs have refused to disband, refused to rein in, which we hope that this present IG, who is a reformer, would deal decisively with the rot coming out from there. Everybody in Imo is scared. People can't talk out again. They are scared of either being killed or being adopted because they are notorious. But not for me. Not for me. Not for me. Now, they adopted these guys and took them to their detention facility since 1 month. IG, if you are listening, so you need to understand. By no other person. By no other person. A squad led by this man. They call him Oladimeji, the head of the Tiger Base. Oladimeji. By the way, I'm hearing rumors that they say they will promote him astronomically to become CP, and he'll be posted to Imo as the commissioner for police. You can imagine. Now, by this man, his team, recently they changed their name from Tiger Base to Violent Crime Response Unit. Can wash a pig or whatever you call it to always be what it is. Not VCRU. The name is Tiger Base. Everybody in Imo, DSS in Imo, even have written many reports on their atrocity. But they say the government there in Owerri have a deal with those in Abuja. That they can never be changed, they can never be touched. Attacking people, young people, extorting them, like a rogue organization. And people are scared because if you talk, they will frame you either a terrorist or ESN or something. So nobody in Imo, there's nobody living there in Imo again that can open a word except few group of people. They hunt the left, right, and center. Not for me. I'm an apostle of rule of law. I'm a soldier for good governance and human rights. I don't fear such things. And I want the IG to listen. Since 1 month they took our children, adopted her, in the usual style they do. Then what is the story? That they say they are acting on the orders of the governor of Imo, Hope Uzodinma. They kidnapped our children. This is the standard of oppression. And then when we send people to go underground, they have been torturing these boys. IG or police, if you are not there, anybody to let the IG and the Police Service Commission, or law of the Tiger Base, of the so-called Violent Crime Unit, or whatever they call them, have had these children taken from Idato, who did not do anything. Plus another one. Our informant say is that that one has died from torture. So we don't have any details on that now. And these ones are in bad shape. Inspector General of Police.